but I had a great laugh as a result of it, and I got no sex.
Hello and welcome to Unrelenting. I am Darren O'Neill, alias Gene Neftuliev. It's the show about everything and nothing and everything in between.
Now, let me ask you a question. If somebody tells you you should be on AM radio, is that a compliment or an insult?
You know, it can go either way, much like NetNet in the troll room. He says, urine. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. A show. You're in Unrelenting. AM. When somebody says to me you should be on AM radio, that is still the home overall for talk radio. I know there are some talk radio channels on FM, but it's mainly the place that you go for an overall conservative-based talk show. NetNet says you have the face for AM radio. Now, that's a different thing. If they say you've got the face for radio, then you should be on, like, well, because it could be a compliment if somebody's like, damn, your show's so good, it should be on the radio. Well, that could be a compliment. AM isn't really a diss because that's where people go for talk shows.
Right. What if it's somebody in their 20s saying it?
Well, then they're like, fuck you, I don't want to hear you.
That's kind of what I thought.
Because they're like, I'm surprised somebody in their 20s knows what AM radio is.
Well, I think that's the kind of the point, is that it's bad enough that old people listen to FM radio, but you're so bad, you should be on that old AM thing that the people in the war used to listen to.
Because kids are like, I don't want radio. I just want to go right to Spotify and tell it what I want to hear. Or they go to
why would you want to
podcast.
listen to something somebody else is listening to?
It's weird. Now, if I had the technology back in the day, I'm sure I would have hardly ever listened to radio, which I would have missed out on a lot, because a lot of what radio was performance. I mean, sure, they played music, but you had even in the pop stations, here it was B96. I mean, you had the disc jockeys that always interjected their personality. How would I even do the rock and roll pre-show if I never heard people doing the spinning the platters? If I had never heard Dick Biondi on WLS doing the whole patter thing.
Or WKRP.
Right. Well, WKRP is one of the places I picked up a lot of this stuff. It's like Dr. Johnny Fever. Who wouldn't want to be Dr. Johnny Fever? Booger. Yeah.
Lonnie Anderson.
Well, of course. There was, although Bailey Quarters, I don't remember the actress's name.
What? MASH?
Bailey, the secretary, not the secretary, Lonnie Anderson played the secretary.
Yeah.
But Bailey Quarters was the little bit more nerdy girl.
Oh, right. Okay.
That played the news.
What was the chick's name from MASH, the actress's name? Something like that, too.
Loretta Swit.
Was it?
Yeah, that was Hot Lips Houlihan was Loretta Swit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
Alan Alda as Hawkeye Pierce. Henry Morgan as the old and beautiful Colonel Hatter. We had McLean was the other colonel that. So I mean, there was Henry Linville, of course, played the Frank Burns. Then we had Maxwell Klinger, is played by Jamie Farr. I watched a lot of MASH back in the day.
Now, where's he from? Do you know?
The character or Jamie Farr, the actor?
The actor.
I don't know where he's from. I know the character was from Toledo.
Looked Lebanese to me.
Well, he was. I mean, I think, but I don't know if he was actually born in Lebanon or. The character was Lebanese and from Toledo because he always wore the Toledo Mud Hens jersey, which is a minor league.
Wait, the character was Lebanese?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought he looked Lebanese.
Thought it was just a thing. No, because they talked about all Paco sausages. People. Yeah, I mean, this is it. And it was okay to have different, nationalities back in the day. You didn't have to hide from it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to pretend you were, say, Indian when you were really black. I mean, it was just a thing. Just saying.
I see what you did there.
Hey, if you didn't see what I did there, you're probably listening to the wrong show.
Probably. You might be thinking you're listening to AM radio.
Right. Right. But hey, I listened to that was back in the day. Jonathan Brandmeier, my favorite. And
Yes, you like him.
Yeah, you can't even call him a disc jockey because he was, he wasn't just spinning music. He didn't really play a lot of music. It was a lot more bits. It was a lot more comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so big back in the day, he was on AM and FM at the same time.
Whoa, like Howard Stern.
I know. It's like, this is the bit. That's how you know you're
Speaking
big.
of Howard Stern, I sent you a thing, and if I didn't send it to you, I definitely posted it on X, that I was watching the podcast of, I'm blanking out. Oh, let me get that vitamin D.
Yeah, B12. B12 alert,
right
B12
now.
alert.
Yeah. Who's the bald guy that doesn't like people touching him?
Howie Mandel.
That's the guy. So he's got a podcast.
This is a
I'm
whole
popping the B12 right now.
This is a whole new podcast we're going to have. Is Gene just puts out very basic descriptions of people, and I guess who he's talking about.
It's based, not basic. You're getting the terminology wrong.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. The kids keep coming up with new slang. I don't get it.
Oh, I just sent you a video on the kids coming up with new slang. Did you watch it yet?
No, I saw it pop up.
I sent it 4 minutes ago. Yes.
I know I should have listened. It says 8 minutes ago now, though.
It's only a half-hour video.
Right. I'm watching it really fast speed.
Okay, good. It's really good because the guy is a PhD of linguistics, and he goes through all the current Gen Z slang and shows that half of it is from the 1940s and half of it is from gay black culture.
Interesting. It is weird to see how the way they try to like change the stuff. Like I noticed this because I barely consume anything.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what Riz is?
Riz, no.
Yeah. So apparently the kids use that term all the time. And when they talk about how smooth somebody is, like, oh, he's got Riz. Yeah. You know what that is?
No.
Charisma from games, from Dungeons and Dragons.
Got some Riz, baby.
I guarantee you 99% of the people saying Riz have no idea. It's from the nerdiest thing you can come up with.
D&D. I played D&D. Well, the last time I played Dungeons and Dragons was probably 1986.
Just proves my point.
Yeah. 1986, though. We're going back.
Ironically, somewhere, I think I still have this.
Before dating began.
Exactly. Before sex was a thing.
Right.
Yes, there was a thing called D&D. AD&D. AD&D came out in the 80s. D&D came out, I think, in the late 70s. Yeah, I still have my original Dungeon Master's manual from the 80s somewhere.
Some of those are worth big bucks now.
None of my shit's ever worth big bucks.
You notice how that goes? It's always the stuff you're like, I remember I could have bought that, but I didn't because I didn't think.
Oh, yeah.
But I noticed this in an ad for something that the Olivia Dunn, the gymnast chick, did a commercial for some kind of clothing. It wasn't a great commercial because I don't remember the brand.
Right.
But she said that she wore them on the daily. And I'm like, when did the language change so much to just rather than saying I wear those every day? I wear them every day. Nothing comes between me and my Calvins to be on the daily. Like, why did we need to change that to on the daily?
On the daily.
Yeah, instead of every day. Why? It's longer, actually. So I get it when you're shortening things. But if you're like, hey, I wear these jeans every day. Well, that's a lot quicker than I wear these jeans on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
The Daily Show. Yeah.
Maybe it's a whole thing just to promote Jon Stewart.
You know how they've pretty much at this point in Gen Z don't use terms like boyfriend, husband.
Well, yeah, because they're hateful and gendered.
Well, they say partner because those other words are, they hate women, clearly. So when you say things like boyfriend, that implies that you're a misogynist.
Of course.
So
even if you're a gay guy with a boyfriend, you're obviously a misogynist.
It's a whole different thing there, I guess. But anyway, so they've been saying partner, which is annoying, I think, because partner already had a meaning. Yeah. And it's somebody that you work with that owns part of your business. That's a partner. And if you're breaking out of prison, that's a partner. But apparently the new word that is now gaining popularity is unit.
Hey, if you want to talk about my unit, that's going to be a whole OnlyFans
thing. They're starting to all have units now, regardless of sex. And So it's you and your unit. How many should I put down on their SVP? Oh, well, my unit and I will be coming. So,
I mean, I know it's big, but that's kind of having to have its own chair. I don't know.
Its own zip code. Thank you very much.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Unrelenting. It's the Seinfeld
Anyway, so I started
podcast.
talking about Siny Mandel. Yes, Siny Mandel. Howie Mandel. And so he does a podcast with his daughter.
Oh, that was the other thing you sent me. I didn't know that was his daughter with him.
Yeah, which is fucking hilarious. It is literally like the early days of the Howard Stern show.
So it's funny.
It's actually funny without having to have strippers taking their clothes off.
I mean, that always adds to the...
Well, I don't get me wrong. You know, I mean, there is an element of Howard Stern, but you know, who's getting the pleasure out of that other than Howard? Because those of us driving the car listening to Howard aren't seeing any of that.
No, back then you were like, God, I wish they had video. Now you're like, God, I don't want to see Howard. He's old. No video.
And an idiot. Yeah.
Well, this is true, too.
Cringeworthy, frankly.
Well, he's afraid to leave the house now. The guy that was like he pretended to have the biggest swinging dick in the business, and now he's afraid that somebody's going to give him a cold. And somebody pointed out
and he should be.
That was somebody that just placed in one of these Olympic things has COVID. It's like they knew they had COVID and they let them go out.
And they don't give a shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, well, so how did this go so quickly from we are so afraid we can't leave the house to, well, it's fine.
Yeah.
Kind of seemed like maybe the whole thing was overblown.
Maybe not the symptoms from the vaccines wasn't though.
No. Well, this is so hard to pull these things apart, which is what they're hoping for, because I know science enough to understand that something could be caused by either the vaccine.
You know Fauci personally?
No, that's not science at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you knew science.
Well, I know he thought he was science.
He said he was science.
You know, we can make a
lot of people think they're science. He said it.
Right. He was like, I am the science. How dare you question the science? But I understand now that almost everybody on the face of the earth has come in contact with the virus that was called COVID.
Yeah.
So you can say a lot of the things are the vaccine, and I believe you because it makes sense. But unless you can get a very strong sample of people that you know were never vaccinated, or you know they didn't, you know, it becomes very hard to say it was definitely this one thing, because the people on the other side that don't believe that go, well, yeah, but everybody's had COVID, so there could have also been that. You can't separate them. You could say, I think.
Yeah, except that no one's that's had miles of filaments pulled out of their blood vessels. None of those people didn't get a vaccine.
Well, that would be the thing. If you could start putting the data together that proves
we have the data.
We don't have the data
we
yet.
Have it.
Who has the data?
We have the data.
She's like, let me see here. Nobody will hear that because it'll all get taken right out by the.
No, it's coming from NIH data. It's literally, there's hard data here that the people that have had the bizarre, and I'm not using my word, I'm using the word that was described in medical literature, these bizarre polymer strings pulled out of them were all in the database people that got vaccinated.
Right, but they probably contacted COVID as well.
And they could have eaten at McDonald's too, for all we know.
Well,
so
see,
who knows?
That will do other bad things to you.
So who knows? All I'm saying is that if you look at the stats, not getting the vaccine seemed to have been the best move.
Yes. Yeah, well, the mRNA, bad. There were side effects with the J&J, the one that I took, but they were seemingly, if you didn't die within 2 weeks, you're fine.
Well, my dad took that, and he's having some lung issues right now.
Well, there are a variety of reasons to have issues once you hit a certain age. We are not young anymore.
Oh, sure.
Gene.
Blame it on age. Sure.
Right. Okay. I know. Well, it's because I have parents that are in their 80s, My dad just went for his follow-up with his doctor after this latest.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He got out the other day. They released him because he's able to walk, and his mental acuity, like flipping a switch, leaving a facility like that and getting home, it really is bizarre stuff. And I know if anybody's ever dealt with this, you understand what I'm talking about. When people, they call it hospital delirium, and sometimes it's caused by drugs, and sometimes it's just caused being in the hospital in the same place, not getting, good sleep, because who can sleep in a hospital because they come and they like put in needles.
Who can sleep with an IV in you? Well, I fell asleep just the other day with an IV in my arm.
Well, it was probably
generally speaking, who can sleep with an IV?
Yes.
And all those alarms going off every time your breathing stops.
The noise. Well, they want to know
if
your heart
stops.
stops.
It's seriously annoying.
Your breathing stops.
I was trying to get a good night's sleep, and I'm like, burp, 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 burp. Just like, hold on, let me turn your alarm off. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
And you do this for
turn off?
Yeah, you do this for like a few days to a few weeks. It's like it will drive anybody insane.
It will completely drive anybody insane. That's a horrible thing unless you happen to be watching House. Right. In which case it's actually interesting.
Which is why I love this is Gene going into his test. He's like messaging me. Yeah. I really wish I didn't watch House.
I know. I'm like self-diagnosed things like this and by the time you filled out the paperwork for insurance, which is 26 pages, you're developing diseases you didn't even have before you walked in.
You missed the comma on page 47. Sorry, we're not going to be able to cover this test. But even up to the day that they let him out of the rehab facility, and it was a nice place. It was built within the last couple of years, within walking distance to their house.
You're talking about House?
No, my dad.
Rehabbing from alcohol?
The rehabbing from the hospital, they sent him into a rehab facility to do exercise. And it was attached to a nursing home, which was horrible, as all nursing homes are. But this place was actually nice. Big room, his own room. You had a fridge, you had a TV, you had a desk. It was a nice little, it was a hotel room, more or less. Except they had therapy there. But he still wasn't comfortable, wouldn't sleep. He was getting confused. He called at 7:22 the day they were letting him out in the morning. And I pick up the phone because I was sleeping. Well, then I picked up the phone because I was awake. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, well, your mother was supposed to come pick me up, and I've been sitting here all day. I'm like, it's 7:22. He's like, I know. I'm like, in the morning. It's like, and it's very concerning. It when somebody that you love is like that out of it, where you don't know whether it's day or night. So it happened the last time as well, I remember, and it's just, there's something in the whole thing. It's like you get home and your DNA resets or something. Like, okay, now I understand overall what's going on. And they said it could still take a few weeks to be 100% normal, but it's a mixture of one, you had an infection and that can make people go loopy, and then they give you a bunch of drugs, which antibiotics can make you go loopy, and then anesthesia for going under a 4 or 5 whatever hour surgery, that'll make you go loopy, and that stuff sticks with you for a while.
Yeah, none of it's good, frankly. Well, no. And just to finish clarifying, in case people were wondering why I was not breathing and plugged in, I just went in for a routine heart CT scan.
There is nothing routine about one of those scans.
Nuclear medical scan, not a big deal.
They inject nuclear waste into your bloodstream.
Yes.
So they can light it up and watch as your blood pumps through your heart.
When everybody leaves the room, it's a fun thing.
This is nothing to worry about at all, sir. But we're going to be 3 rooms over. That's fine. Perfect. We'll be able to see it all.
The worst part of it was the 3 hours in just trying to surf the web / sleep, waiting for the drugs to kick in. And the actual process, the procedure only probably took about 10 minutes.
Right, because once the machine comes out, it's like a mini MRI kind of thing, right? And it moves.
It's nothing mini about it whatsoever.
It is a big machine. Well, compared to an MRI, it's a little smaller.
Well, it's about the same size. The machines are roughly the same size. They operate on different principles. The MRI is magnetic. This is actually radiation, so it's radiological.
Ooh.
But the size is about the same for the machines.
Did you feel like you were turning into Spider-Man as you were being bathed in the radiation?
I'll tell you, the weirdest thing that I never really thought about, because it's been a damn long time since I ever had an IV installed, but when they inject something through the IV, I could smell and taste it.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it's coming through blood in the exact same places that you have your sensory organs, like your tongue and your the whole area in your nose, whatever the hell that's called.
Your olfactory senses.
All those things. It just comes through your blood instead of through the air. And you think about it, like if something's in your blood, it's a lot more concentrated than it is in the air. And so you could actually taste and smell the saline solution being injected.
That's weird.
And then, of course, that's just the saline. But when they inject radioactive iodine into you, which is what it is, not only can you taste and smell it, but you feel a heat sensation.
Yes. You may feel like you're urinating yourself. Don't worry about it.
You really don't feel like urinating, but you do feel like you just drank a few shots of vodka.
Well,
that's the closest analogy that I can. No, it's people don't drink because it feels good to drink. They drink because of the effect that alcohol has on your brain. The actual consumption of the alcohol portion, especially straight high
concentration, high proof.
That proof's the word I was looking for. Yeah, high proof alcohol. That is not pleasurable, dude. It's like you want to have the effect, but man, I don't think anyone would drink alcohol if there was no residual effect from drinking alcohol whatsoever, but you still had that kind of burning flavor to it that you do with if you're drinking something straight.
No, a quality whiskey, maybe.
No way, man. Whiskey has a flavor. It certainly has a taste. And remember, I'm a level 2 whiskey sommelier here. But you still drink it for the effect it has.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal. No Beret says the radioactive stuff tastes metallic to him. Well, it is.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Yeah. Metallic is the flavor, but like heat is the sensation, because, you can only taste with your taste cells, but you can feel warmth in your entire body. And the other part that was surprising to me, because of course I was fully conscious throughout this whole thing.
Well, as much as you ever are.
And yes, I was down at a loss for words, I'll tell you that.
Were you chatty? Were you chatty during the test?
I took my vitamin B's, man. And by the way, they told me I need to increase my potassium uptake.
More bananas.
I don't need bananas, but yeah.
You pop the pills.
Bananas are pure sugar, man. I mean, I love the taste of bananas.
I do too.
I'm fucking diabetic. I'm trying not to do that kind of stuff.
I know. And
but
that's
I take
hard,
the pills. Man. But I'm going to have to bump up the pill amounts, I think. Which is it's partly, I think, because I take quite a bit of vitamin D, usually around 10,000 IUs. I probably should have bumped up my potassium myself anyway, without waiting for them to tell me that. But,
I was just told to bump up the vitamin D. I'm like, I did. I saw the results. I bumped them up. Yeah.
Everybody should be taking at least 5,000, and most people should be taking 10 to 15,000.
And then it's like go on the no sugar and no carb diet. That's what the doctor recommended.
Well, but good luck with that.
I know. It's, very hard. He told my dad yesterday, go home and eat a couple of big steaks. So obviously he's on a different diet.
Yeah.
But
hey, Doc, how about no more alcohol for you? Let's see who sticks to their diet first.
No more alcohol. Gee, I haven't had a drink in years.
Not you, the doctor.
Oh, well, sure.
All doctors are alcoholics.
Like, there you go. How you doing, everybody? But yeah, trying to do the grocery shop, even the I took a look at how many carbs are in the bottle of the shawarma marinade, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. It's sugar. Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? So it's like, yeah, you just got to go. And I've done it before.
You know what the worst is? Do you know how many calories are in a lox bagel?
No, probably a lot though, because
like
the bagel,
700.
It's huge.
You might as well eat a Big Mac. I mean, no, a lox bagel obviously going to taste much better, but in terms of caloric intake, it's surprisingly high. And the other one for me that I noticed ever since I got plugged into the continuous blood sugar monitoring thing,
right, which is awesome.
Rice.
Yeah, you said white rice is like the worst thing you ate.
Oh my God. Well, I don't care if it's white rice or fried rice.
It's all the same.
I mean, I'm like wild rice probably would be better because it's not real rice. But holy shit, the body converts rice into sugar in about 10 minutes.
And then it sits there.
Pure sugar. Yeah, it just sits there. Exactly.
Like that's, you could eat ice cream, you said, and the spike is there. It's gone in like 20 minutes.
Right. That is one thing. If you eat now, I would not say that generically ice cream. I say that about Häagen-Dazs.
Ooh, I like
specifically coffee Häagen-Dazs.
That's what I got in the freezer.
I know. That's why I'm saying it. But if you look at the ingredients list on your coffee Häagen-Dazs, there are only 5 ingredients in that pint. And those 5 ingredients are coffee, sugar, milk, cream, and what was the last one?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember.
The fact that you're like, I memorized.
There are 5 ingredients in there. Yeah. That's coffee, cream, milk, sugar, and a 5th one. Anyway, it might be Vidal or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But the point is they use real sugar.
And not the high fructose corn.
Exactly. And so the real sugar seems to spike up fast and then drop right back down. The corn syrup stuff spikes up almost as fast, but it stays high for hours. So definitely if you're going to eat anything at all with sugar, find things that actually have real sugar. Either sucrose or fructose like you would have in fruits and vegetables. But don't eat anything if you can help it that has a corn sweetener in there.
The coffee ice cream, according to the latest Häagen-Dazs, is cream, concentrated skim milk, sugar, liquid egg yolk, and instant Brazilian coffee.
Egg yolk, that's what it is. Eggs. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it says it may contain peanuts or nuts.
Yeah, it doesn't, but yeah.
They always say because maybe you die if you eat them accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Because and then usually they'll say processed in the same factory that also processes nuts, or on the same equipment that processes nuts. But yeah, obviously the ice cream factory makes a lot of flavors at the same time, or maybe they make one at a time in batches and then switch flavors and make another batch. But certainly I can see them having, there's a pretty good nut flavor they have. They both have pistachio, which is pretty good. I've had that Häagen-Dazs pistachio.
We are not sponsored by Häagen-Dazs, but we should be.
No, but we should be. We really should be, man. I've spent way too much money in Häagen-Dazs over the years.
Omega Project says, try a lung scan nuclear test. It uses a special camera to take pictures of the lungs after a radioactive trace dust is inhaled. So is this like, you're being Hunter Biden? Do you snort that stuff up? Or it's interesting.
Yeah, and could you taste it? That's the real question.
Like, what does nuclear trace dust taste like?
Exactly.
How do they pump that into your lungs safely and then get it out?
Well, safely?
Yeah, you're asking for way too much, sir. Safely? No, we haven't figured that part out yet.
No, remember you signed that away on page 14.
Yes. We are not using these things for medical science at all.
Absolutely.
You're not a guinea pig.
I had a full body CT scan 2 years ago. And that's also when I had a MRI done of my head, and then
and what were the results on that?
Just very boring. I mean, it just says, yes, sir, you have an extremely high IQ, but that's about it.
You can tell that just by looking. Interesting.
I know, right? Look at his beard. What else do you need to know? And then at the same time, I had an ultrasound done of my heart and prostate. So it was like a, preventative kind of like, let's do everything all at once kind of thing.
Like, we'll just flip them over, take both sides. It's fine.
Pretty much.
Same machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
All does the same stuff.
Well, they do the heart scan from inside,
I've got the 2D echo coming up, another one in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
Always good
stuff.
stuff.
Fun stuff. Costs way too much money.
Well, it beats the alternative of dying if they can find a problem early.
Well, it depends on what kind of insurance you have.
Which in this case, too, all of a sudden, my dad's back pain is gone. I'm like, because it wasn't back pain. It was gallbladder pain. And everybody asked the same question, like, you didn't notice anything like flaring up after you would eat or, all of these other symptoms, and allegedly not.
Yeah.
It's like, so it was just progressively getting worse.
So wrong with his gallbladder?
One, I'm guessing it ended up as mine having the gallstone to the point to where it gets blocked up, which will cause
duct blockage.
And I don't know how long it had been. I'm guessing probably a few weeks it was, to the point to where it had then gotten infected because it was so long where it probably should have been out that it got infected. So
yeah, that
caused for the emergency where I may have mentioned the last time, because of his having heart surgery 30 years ago, 30 years ago. He has blood thinners. So when you have to get any kind of surgery, they go through the whole process, which usually takes a couple of days to get your blood at the right level. Well, the blood day 2 in the hospital was still not at the right level. And they're like, we don't want to wait another day.
Yeah.
So that's why it took an hour to 90-minute surgery and took more like a little over 4 hours.
Yeah. At some point, I'm going to need to get my gallbladder removed as well.
It's a fun time. I mean, it's
either that, or I keep hoping they'll get a process working where you don't have to.
Yeah.
But,
well,
I've got a golf ball in there.
Well, I told you.
I don't know how the hell I swallowed it, but apparently I have a golf ball in my gallbladder.
Slightly larger than a chicken egg was what the surgeon told me. I love when you're on one of these lists where he's like, it's not the biggest one I've ever seen, but it's close. Well, congratulations to me. But for me, I mean, this is the weird thing with the human body.
Yeah.
I had the gallbladder out, and it seems my dad's the same way, for like a day, had pain, and then it was it. Now, I understand male, female, I get that, but I don't think it's necessarily just because of that. My wife, when she had the gallbladder out, like 2, 3, 4 weeks after, was still getting a lot of pain in the side, and to the point to where she was
just
getting
like to complain, man.
This is true too. But we're starting to get concerned, like, what, did something not go right? Or?
Yeah. Hypochondria is probably the most common female disease.
Oh, of course. This is why...
not medical advice, mind you.
We don't offer medical advice.
We don't. And we may talk about medical issues, but we don't offer medical advice.
You may not wonder anymore why Gene is not married. I know after my wife saw your picture of your going out for barbecue outfit. And she's like, well, how does he even get women at all? And I said, I think he's got money. And she's like, okay, that makes sense. That's really the only thing that would explain it away.
Oh, my God.
But it was a great shirt. I mean, going out with the Black Lives Matter shirt.
Wasn't that great?
For your barbecued. I mean, you were, and the fact
I was safe, man. I was safe in the barbecue joint. I'll tell you that much.
Nobody knew you were doing it ironically, except your buddy.
Well, and I was very disappointed that he didn't wear his MAGA hat.
Oh, see, that would have been awesome.
Because that would have been the odd couple mix-up for sure.
That would have been a great picture too, man. Be like, do it. Wear your Trump stuff. It'll be great. And then there was a guy, just as an off note, and I don't even know if this was legit or not, because you can never tell with these videos anymore. But there was like a hippie dude, white guy, maybe in his mid to late 20s. That there was dueling rallies going on. So there was a Trump, he had his people, Kamala Harris had her people, and he brought 2 T-shirts, one Harris and one Trump. and then went to the other side with that shirt on and showed.
I watched that video. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And the Trump people are like, "Hey, what's going on? Cool, fine."
Yeah.
Go. The Harris, the Democrats were like,
they were
ready
ready to kill him. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, this is seriously. If that is the case, this says everything you need to know about the state of this country right now.
Yeah, it tells you that the Trump people are pussies, and they're going to lose another election if they don't get it off their ass and start pushing back.
Until they start trying to kill people with differing opinions.
Until you start meeting the enemy with like force, you will lose.
Well, that much is true. That much is true. Although it seems that Donald Trump has been given the message from those, it's hard to say anybody is higher up than him in the Republican Party in the hierarchy right now, but the people with the money told him, cut it out, cut the personal stuff out, go policy. And he had an hour press conference yesterday, the day before, whatever it was, and he seemed to stay on topic, which was very interesting. It shows he can do it. I
didn't watch that. Really? Okay.
It shows he can do it. They were trying to bait him, and the only thing that really got him a little bit annoyed was somebody said that Kamala Harris's rallies were gaining so many people, and he's just like,
yeah.
He wanted to say how his were much bigger.
Yeah. Greatest rallies the country's ever seen.
Beautiful rallies. Beautiful people. They come out and it's just the love. I can feel the love. Nobody.
I don't understand why he didn't take the opportunity to just say, "Yeah, Kamala Harris." I mean, she's just weird.
Weird, very weird. It's the word of the day.
Just weird. I would have done that in his shoes. I would just do a 180 on that term, and what's going on there? She's just weird.
She's only
because that would freak them out so much they would stop using the word weird overnight.
Well, because she's only talked to the press for 2 minutes, and that was she was like baited into
she was cackling the whole time.
I know. Well, she can't be serious. I said this, maybe it was to my wife. I'm like, you know what? If Kamala Harris can talk for 5 minutes about brutally killing babies and not laugh, I will vote for her. Because I don't think she can.
No, she can't.
I mean, I think within 30 seconds it'd be like,
statistically speaking, there's a higher chance that you said that on the podcast than with your wife.
It's probably true. Although, I mean, my wife kind of seems to think that when I talk to her, it's kind of like me doing a podcast, just nobody's recording it. And they should be. Should be all the time, like that Justin TV back in the day. It should be all Darren O, all day, all night.
Well, it's like I said on the last episode of Just a Good Old Boys. Like, when we wrap up the podcast. What?
That ran after No Agenda the other day.
Yeah. I said, when we wrap up the podcast, Ben takes a leak as per normal. And then he calls me back and we talk for another 45 minutes. I'm like, man, I wish there's a way to monetize that and, get some real money coming off the after call.
Why would he call you back? Doesn't he understand?
Because we don't finish the conversation in 2 hours.
Once you hang up, it's over, dude. Named Ben. Don't call him back.
Well, he doesn't have 6 podcasts to work on like you, so he's got to get his podcasting in when he can.
Well, this is it. You do the after show, and this is one place I will disagree with the concepts of Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. I think that smaller podcasts that are below the level of No Agenda, as most are, a lot of them can benefit monetarily by the Patreon walled garden model. I think
there's a few people that would actually pay to get that level of access.
I
mean, you don't have to call it the Patreon model. You can call it the Daily Wire model.
Right. Well, there's a variety of people who do shows, and it drives me nuts because I usually stop listening to them because that's my mentality. But the shows that are like, well, here, Gene and I are going to do the first hour, but if you want the next 2 hours, then you got to subscribe for $14.99 a year.
Everybody does that. So Daily Wire, arguably the largest podcasting organization out there, if you call video stuff podcasting, which frankly Adam does these days, and I'm not so sure myself yet.
It's getting there because soon there will be RSS feeds for the video. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah. And then, of course, Tim Pool, he does the same exact thing. They do 2.5 hours with the guests, and then they go to their only for patrons model, which is through their website. It's not on Patreon, but it's essentially the same model.
Well, yeah, you're paying
for members only
for access.
Yeah. And I've been paying him for years now, and I maybe watch one episode a month, maybe.
And this is the kind of stuff that these kind of models really catch. Is somebody that's interested in it, but then totally forgets that they've subscribed. Mm-hmm. They don't even think about it. Like, well, I'm still paying. This is me with, I keep forgetting to cancel. This is how far back this goes.
Yeah.
But it's only $99 a year. So when it goes onto my credit card, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot.
Yeah.
I just wait to the next year and I forget again.
What are you talking about? Amazon Prime?
Close. News group access. Through Giga News or one of those. I don't think it's Giga News anymore. I went to a different, but to get access to all of the Usenet news groups.
Oh, Usenet.
Yeah.
Wait, they're charging now? They used to be free.
Well, there used to be a certain amount free like 15 years ago.
I'm thinking like 30 years ago myself. But
it might be. It might be. But now for like unlimited access. And they also have access to, the software because all the DMCA stuff that if you want the thing that kind of shows you what the files are that are labeled X5492197. Well, music, movies, porn.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
It's got everything. I mean, it's less though. I mean, because people are less understanding what it is.
I didn't realize anybody still subscribed to alt.sex.pictures.
It's still around, I'm sure.
Wild.
I'm sure it is still around. The news groups are all there. But it's one of those things where I forget and I never really
You realize
use it.
It's all like 60-year-old guys.
Probably. Because everything's now...
it worked fine 30 years ago. Why would I change it?
There are different ways to get music now. There's different ways to get movies and television. It's all torrenting and things like that. But the news groups were great because it's so fast and you had a lot less issues.
You're going to like that Howie Mandel show.
Because it's about old people that are like...
It's got music.
Well, this is good.
You're going to like it. You like music, right?
I've always liked
It's actually a tremendous production. I tweeted with apologies to Adam Curry. I'm like, I think this is the best podcast show I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it literally reminded me of very early Howard Stern, except he's got more producers.
All I did was,
other than that, it's amazing.
Needle drop into the episode you sent, and they were talking about Howie Mandel's pubic hair. So, I mean, I know this is going to be a fantastic show.
They were?
Yeah, they were asking, because he's like, you used to have whatever the dude was that was in charge. There's always a dude.
the comedian guy.
And he's like the ringleader, and he's like, oh, you used to have a really
no, he's the
head
guest
of hair.
He's the guest being interviewed.
The guy that was like talking to Howie in a completely different location.
Oh no, that's the production staff.
Yeah, so he was asking. He's like, you used to have really nice hair. Oh, he was
asking about him. Oh, okay.
And then he was somehow
because the guest was making fun of the fact that Howie used to have a great set of hair.
Well, this is what they were talking
back
about
in the day.
And then they start talking about his other hair.
Did.
Well, yeah, because now he's bald.
And then Howard, so not Howard Stern, Howard Mandel.
Howie.
Yeah, he made a joke about his hair on his head. It's like I used to have a great set of pubic hair too, not just on my head.
Right, that's what I saw.
Yeah, okay, got it. That's in there. Yeah, that's totally.
Howie Mandel back in the day, kids, was known for blowing up a glove.
He was known as a pot smoker, I'm pretty sure, who did the little bit of side entertainment by putting a rubber glove over his head,
right,
and exhaling into it to blow it up like a chicken head.
And he did the voice of what was the kid's name? But there was went over like Roger or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, everybody? How you doing? I love this thing that we lifting.
I just can't help but think that sounds awfully pedophilic.
Hell, Howie. That was a bit. They used to do a whole thing like,
and your mama, why is this guy jumping up on that cow for?
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask Howie. That was comedy back in the day. And then he became the Deal or No Deal guy.
I think about 20 years went in between where he just kind of didn't do diddly squat.
Then he's like, I need to make money again.
And then he decided that, hey, my kid's go to college. I need to make money.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I would have been like, you're on your fucking own, man.
She seems like a nice girl.
So he's like, okay, I like my kid. Joe Biden's not going to really pay for the college, so you got to get out there.
I mean, she was a kid like 12 years ago, but yeah.
Well, you're always just worried as long as they're past 18.
Yeah, she's way past 18. Been married for 11 years.
Oh, so you're like way too old now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where you're going with this, but the point is that there was a span of time in between when Howie was popular in the 80s.
Right.
And when people started seeing him bald.
And
like
he was
between those two.
He was on a television show, right?
20 years.
He was on a medical show, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
What was he on? He was in some kind of show. Howie Mandel. It's easy to find out. We just go to IMDb. It knows all. We did like the Deal or No Deal thing. I mean, it had nothing to do with the models that were holding the cases at all.
It was a stupid show, but I'm sure it paid well.
What I want to know here first, IMDb folks, anybody listening, it lists Howie Mandel, HOWIE, MANDEL, and then they had to put right underneath, AKA Howie Mandel, but with 2 L's.
Right.
Because we might have been confused. St. Elsewhere. See, that's right, no Beret. He was on St. Elsewhere.
Was he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was a television star, man.
Yeah, he made a few bucks.
He's got a really long IMDb sheet, I can tell you that.
Oh, is that where you were going to say? Okay.
I mean, I don't know. With the pubic hair, it's hard to tell. It could. He was on Muppet Babies. Yeah.
Could have been hiding in there.
Jeez, like I'm going to exit here right here. He was in 137 episodes of St. Elsewhere as Dr. Wayne Fiscus.
But did he do any TV, though?
He was in St. Elsewhere.
Was that a TV show?
Yeah. 137 episodes.
Wow. Yeah, I missed that. But apparently he disappeared for about 20 years and then came back.
Let's see, 89.
He might have been doing that TV show while he disappeared, though.
Well, that was 82 to 88. Then he did something called Little Monsters. Then one episode of
but
Carol
I think like 90
Company.
Onwards, you never really saw Howie Mandel.
He was in Gremlins 2. He was the voice of Gizmo in 1990.
I mean...
He was in 13 episodes of Good Grief in 90 to 91.
Nobody watched that.
There was a TV movie called Howie and Rose that he was in.
Nobody watched that.
The Amazing Live Sea Monkeys he was in.
Definitely nobody watched that. Now, he kind of disappeared for a while. I think
he was the voice of things. Yeah, he was. I think he started going to voice acting at that point, it looks like.
He kind of was pulling a Bob Goldthwait maneuver.
Bobcat's awesome. Hey, man. The bunny in that show, the Bobcat show, the total ripoff of Peg Bundy and the Married with Children. What was that? I don't remember what that was called, but Married it was the one with Nikki Cox as the daughter rather than.
Right.
And then what's her name that was in good old
Amanda? Yeah.
It's the Ben Stiller show. He did one episode in 95. Lois and Clark.
Talking about
one episode. Howie
Goldthwait now, or
I'm still looking at Howie, man. Howie? I'm just like, what happened to Howie? He was like doing one episode things here and there.
Pretty good for a 60-year-old dude.
He went in. He did one episode of The Nanny.
He's got a goatee.
That's big time. The Nanny.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Did he play a rabbi, or what was his role on that one?
Oh, no. I've scrolled past this. He was in one episode of My Name is Earl. Woo! 2 episodes of Monk.
I do not remember him in Earl, and I watched all those episodes.
I did too, and I don't remember him in it either.
Show, man. That was a wonderful show.
Yeah, I do. I liked My Name is Earl.
It had such, je ne sais quoi.
Ah, yes. It was all about karma. And
it was Karma's a bitch. Old lady Karma. Old lady Karma is a bitch.
He was in one episode of The Big Bang Theory. I don't remember that.
Definitely don't remember that. He probably played a scientist.
And now he's the voice. He was the voice of Howie Mandel in the TV series Harley Quinn. So you played yourself.
Okay. In a cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
When was, because I don't see on here at all in the IMDb, I'm kind of surprised. Wouldn't they list the show with the money, the Deal or No Deal? That's kind of weird. I don't see that listed at all. Oh, unless you have to be like as himself or something. What do we doing here? Credits? I guess he's not really an actor on that show.
No, he's the paid talent.
Just some talent.
I don't know. But either way, none of that shit matters. The important thing is go check out his podcast. And does that link I sent you have a title on it by chance? Because I'm trying to remember. It's like Howie Stuff or something like that.
It says Howie Mandel Does Stuff, maybe?
There you go. That's the name of his podcast.
Howie Mandel Does Stuff.
Dumb name, but good show. He's fairly quick-witted.
He's Canadian.
I like. Unfortunately, like all comedians in the United States, he is Canadian. That's the Canadian mafia up there cranks out comedians left and right.
He is 68 years old? Wow.
Yeah. He looks pretty good for 68, man.
Well, he's 5'9", so he's little.
He doesn't look that little. Except when Gene Simmons was on, then he definitely looks little.
So that you're like, dude, you're big. You big
Gene
rock
Simmons
guy.
was giving his daughter shit and he didn't realize that was his daughter.
Nice.
That's pretty funny.
Like, what are you doing? Oh, sorry.
He's like, okay, Jew girl.
Whoa! When people used to say things and not worry about it. Things were better at that point, though. People were way less offended.
I think I've heard this story before, but Simmons told the story of how he met Shannon
Tweed?
Yeah, Shannon. Of
Playmate model extraordinaire.
A Canadian.
Really, another
Yes.
Canadian.
Another Canadian. They seem to be a lot of them.
I mean, Pamela
They
Anderson.
all migrate
Canadian.
south. You know, they all migrate south for the winter.
Yeah. Pamela Anderson, back in the day. Oh, my God.
He met her at the Playboy
gorgeous.
Mansion when she was hanging out there with her sister. While he was living with who's the black chick that sang that song?
Whitney Houston.
Back in the 80s.
I'm still going with Whitney Houston.
Late 70s.
Diana Ross.
Yeah, he was living with Diana Ross.
What?
Hey, you can get this. Yeah, he was dating Diana Ross. He was living with her.
Really, Gene Simmons was dating Diana Ross.
No, he was.
I will survive.
Yeah, they were a couple. So, and that's when he met Shannon Tweed, and fell head over heels in love. And of course, it didn't stop him from having lots of sex with other women afterwards.
Well, no, when you're a super big rock star and women are throwing themselves at you.
Yeah, so he tells the story of how he met Shannon and then finds out that Shannon Tweed is Diana Ross's what would it be? What would the relation? Diana Ross's brother married Shannon Tweed's sister.
I was going to say, this was a whole different thing.
I know. No. Shannon Tweed's sister was married to Diana Ross's brother. So they were actually related through marriage. And he didn't realize that. And the way that he ended up meeting and, living with Diana Ross was because he was at the time living with and dating Cher. And he was going to go to New York.
Well, I will say Diana Ross, big upgrade over Cher.
And Cher said, hey, when you're in New York, why don't you meet up with my best friend, Diana? And
would you say meet up? I know what you're saying, sweetie.
It's exactly what he was thinking. Is that I was like, yeah, I'll meet up. And then so he ends up meeting with Diana to go find a gift for Cher. And they end up, he ends up staying at her place basically. So anyway, the guy, it's interesting when he tells these stories. It's all very rational. Like everything always makes sense when he hooks up with somebody.
Well, of course,
it's not random.
All we know,
it's just that he clearly can't say no.
And neither can you. So it might be something in the gene. We know Gene Simmons has had a lot more fun than you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Rock and roll lifestyle. It's something that you can't.
He's also like a foot
around.
taller than me, but yeah.
Well, that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Women like tall. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, tall and Jewish.
Well, I've got 50% there. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, just imagine if you had the whole 100.
It's hard to even put yourself into somebody's shoes like that who had become that popular, that successful, that rich, to where things are just easy. It's
never easy.
Well, I mean, there's going to be there are going to be problems afterwards, but getting women seems to be easy. I mean, Tiger Woods, man, although that guy, he paid a price.
Yeah, he did.
Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just having that kind of cash. How do you put yourself into the position? I don't get it. Where, when you sit there and you're like, wow, should I get this whatever item that costs, $100, $500?
I was discussing this very topic with at barbecue.
With your buddy. What was his name?
With my token black friend. Yes.
You only have. Well, now, if he is the only black friend you have, then yes, he is a token.
No, all my black friends are tokens. Believe me.
You collect them all, says Gene.
I'm not going to single any one of them out. They're all tokens in my eyes.
Gene is going to. If it wasn't for the Black Lives Matter shirt, people would be like, he's racist.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? But hey, I can't be because I'm wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt.
Right, that cleanses you of every
incidentally
sin.
Pisses all of them off, which is funny.
It's like, why are you wearing that? Because I can't.
To piss them off, mainly, yeah.
Now, see, the interesting thing would be wearing the Black Lives Matter shirt with the MAGA hat.
Now, I also have another shirt that I'm more careful in wearing, which says Tokens Life Matters.
Well, Token was a great character on South Park.
Uh-huh.
Especially when you found out his real name was Tolkien.
Tolkien, yeah, because his dad really enjoyed the fiction. Yeah, that's why I named my son Token. They're all looking around at each other like,
The comedy on that show is another level.
Next level. One could almost argue that they kept that joke running for about a decade before the big reveal.
Well, the question is, did they realize there was the big reveal?
Obviously not.
And you just ran into that like, hey, dude, one day, they were high. They were smoking weed.
Drebs Scott just sent us some money and stuff.
On purpose?
I don't know. It's fake money, so probably.
It's fake money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
did Comic Strip Broger also sent some.
I don't have the pews on, so
good. Thank God. So Comic Strip Broger sent $16.50, probably double that amount's my guess.
Yeah, $33 total.
And yeah, that would be probably. And somebody steals the other $3, damn it. And
it's those podcast index people, man.
Oh, see, everybody wants their cut. It just says congrats.
CSB says,
oh, it's Irish. Oh, we're supposed to pronounce Irish. That's on you then, not me.
Yeah, that's Pogue Mahone.
Pogue Mahone.
Pogue Mahone. That means kiss my ass in Irish.
Oh, is that? It says kurva, but yes.
But that says thank you in Polish. But I know Pogue Mahone is. He says go to www.csb.lol, and that's where the name the Pogues came from.
Oh, is it really?
Which is why I have heard that.
But
whole
it's spelled
story.
differently. It's not spelled P-O-G-S. It's P-O-U-G-S.
Yes, but that's the origin.
Interesting.
Pogues from Pogue Mahone, which means kiss my ass in Gaelic.
Of course it does. And then have a great weekend from Dreb Scott.
The one and only Dreb Scott. He's the chapter man.
And he sent in quadruple sevens for good luck.
And, and AI's already replaced that job, Dreb Scott. It can do the chapters You no longer, I would be curious. I should run a no agenda episode through because Dreb does a great job doing the chapters.
Oh, he uses AI.
I think he was the original AI because he's been doing it longer than AI exists.
Not technically true, but okay.
Well, easily accessible AI existing.
Sure. Yeah. Free AI.
Now, it's interesting that even the llama, which at first I was like, well, llama's better with time. It still gets very confused when you hand it a transcript and ask for chapters. It wants to make the show either half as long or twice as long, which I'm like, you would think the one thing that AI would be able to do is just process that data.
You would think.
And understand.
Dude, I've been very happy now for 2 episodes on Just the Good Old Boys. I've just been having Buzzsprout, the hosting company, do everything.
And Dreb Scott just says, with another 777, thank you, sir. No AI here for chapters. He is all...
No AI, wow.
He's not juicing. You may want to think about it, Dreb.
Yeah, you might want to start juicing.
You can save yourself
all
a
the
lot
cool
of
kids
time.
are doing it, man. You may want to check it out. No, seriously, do a comparison. Like, do your own thing first, then run it through the AI and see what it spits out, and you may be surprised.
Because with the AI, it does it now, the timing thing is still goofy, getting the times right. But the understanding when a topic changes and coming up with a pithy title, it does that really well. But I don't know why the time swap thing doesn't really work as
like
well
I said,
as it
that's
should.
only because you're using a bunch of disparate tools. If you used one integrated tool or company,
I doubt it,
have all these
because I'm
issues.
feeding it a transcript and I've tried different
but you're
ways of
doing
feeding
each
it.
piece on a different software.
Doesn't matter
You're trying
because
to
I'm
make
feeding
them
it
work together.
the transcript and
It
saying
matters because it's not one software.
why would it have to be one software? It's doing the same
Because
thing.
one
It's taking the
software knows
transcript,
what it did.
but it doesn't because it's an AI. It's bizarre. Some do it better.
Your understanding of what AI means and how it works.
It's magic, of course.
That's just exactly. It's magic. That's,
I like openrouter.ai because you can pay as you go and it takes crypto. I think we may have mentioned that before, but it gives you access
which you're
to some other.
drowning in crypto because of all the donations.
I got lots of donations. This is true. And
this is the bit where you're supposed to say, well, donations are down. We could really use some help. Well, instead, you say, I'm drowning in donations.
But you said it. I didn't want to disagree.
Well, you agreed with it. What the hell, man? I set you up. I teed you up right there.
I mean,
this is your opportunity to beg for money, and you didn't take it.
This show is making nothing except from Dreb Scott and Comics.
Literally nothing. Literally nothing. I haven't gotten a PayPal in years.
Well, it wasn't years, but a PayPal that was like over $100 probably. It's been years because, and we've looked at the data. I sent it to you the other day.
We made more money when I used to say, don't send us money.
I know. Well, I sent this to you the other day. This was overall for this show. Yeah. Our buddy Dale, and I think this is correct. I would have to double check, but because again, ChatGPT. Our buddy Dale is at $1,791, which means he is more than deserving of praise and a big steak dinner, but he would have to get to the United States, which would cost him more than that. The next person on that list, Josh McLean, 152. So we go from
lifetime donations.
Yeah, we go from 1,800 about to 152, and I think this has to be net because otherwise, I don't think Dale would be a partial event. Although maybe it was. It's hard to say.
I don't remember if Dale was sending based on round numbers of Australian dollars or he was converting it first to US dollars and then sending the appropriate Australian.
Yeah, and I think there was something that was like upping for the PayPal fees. So that could be, because that's usually how I go through because I want to credit what you sent. And it's not your fault that PayPal is going to take some money out of it.
Yeah.
But that's the big difference, Dale. You are the man. You own the show. You are the executive producer. And everybody else goes down. Kevin Seifert, who comes in with, I think, is still $5 a month. He's at $145.
I mean, we definitely owe him something unique. And I know in the early days we were talking about, hey, let's do a Chicago steak dinner for anyone that does over $1,000. So as soon as you spend the $7,000 to fly to the US, we'll buy you $100 steak dinner.
Gene and I are going to have that steak dinner for you. How about that?
On your behalf.
Yes, on your
and
behalf.
not even together, in different restaurants, mind you. But we will definitely have that steak dinner.
It's the way it works. But we appreciate the people that support this show.
No, that definitely paid for some audio gear.
There was, no.
I assume.
I looked and there was no PayPal for this week. There were a couple last week because it was the beginning of the month. And I didn't see any boostergrams after the shows. Now, I did see a Frothy Mix was streaming the show, so that was nice. But I don't pull those out as of yet. And that just starts getting to be a little bit harder to do the accounting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the people that are streaming per minute. But we appreciate the people that listen. And if you can boost, that's great. We are a Podcasting 2.0 compliant show. And if you want to go the old-fashioned route, man, you can just go to unrelenting.show, click that button. And if there is like a crypto you want to use, well, let me know. You know, it's a beautiful thing. We'll hook it up.
How is crypto doing?
Better?
Back recovering, but not quite to
about in the middle.
Yet.
About in the middle of where it was.
Yeah.
And this is, again, I'd laugh every time this happens. Every time the stock market takes a total dump, crypto takes a total dump right with it. This concept that, oh no, crypto, it's going to be where you want to be because when the stock market crashes, the crypto will be good because it has nothing to do with the stock market. Like, bullshit. It's got something to do with it because the minute the money starts dying from the stock market, all of a sudden the crypto goes bye-bye.
The thing that I find is interesting is all these stock boys out there, you know who you are, the as soon as crypto started going down, the messages of don't sell, hold, don't sell, just started overwhelming the network. The amount of number of people that felt like, oh my God, everybody around me is selling, I have to stop them from selling, just went through the roof. It's like, dude, people that want to hold, like me, that are going to hold for years and years, don't give a shit what the current stake price is because we're going to keep holding. Saying don't sell, just hold is not going to affect people that need the money. They're always going to sell no matter what.
True.
So why is there a tremendous uptick in everybody saying, oh, don't sell, don't sell? Because people are afraid. They're panicking. They're thinking about selling themselves. And I guarantee you, for every message that went up there that says, don't sell, there was somebody that was deep down thinking, man, should I sell now before it drops even further or should I hold it?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like you said, if you need the money, you pull it out.
Yeah.
But if you are in the other mentality where it's just like, I'm letting it ride no matter what, I don't care what it does, then you are, one, way more relaxed because you're not worried about watching the things go up and down. Like my dad loves watching on a daily basis what these stocks are doing and looking at their 401k. And I'm like, that's just depressing. You don't want to do that.
That is depressing most of the time. Yeah.
You know, it's great for the days that it goes up, but it's like, check on it once a month or every 6 months.
But it's not even great for the days it goes up because you're not actually taking advantage of any of that.
Now, for people that are trying to play the game, and this is something that still seems fairly consistent, the crypto is constantly moving. If you think you're good, you buy it. It goes up to the point where you're like, oh, I think it's going to drop. And then you get rid of it and then you let it drop and then you buy it again. And you keep building and you keep stacking. And that's just like day trading. Yes.
And it's not predictable.
Of course. Well, because otherwise an AI would have made Drebs Scott very rich already.
Well, yeah.
Or see Brooklyn 112 who says his new mining rig is on its way from China.
Oh, it's going to take some of that Bitcoin and send it right back to China every time it does a competition. You know that, right?
China. Well, that's the whole thing. The whole thing will go to China. That's the beauty of these rigs. They just show you the data like, oh, yeah, you're making a lot of money. Keep letting me run. Let me run. And then you go look at the blockchain. You're like, there's no money in this account. China.
So, yeah. So speaking of, just to wrap up the crypto thing, so the voltage people have closed my support ticket.
I just want to add, see, Brooklyn says fiat is not money.
Yeah, and that's totally the case. But Guess what Bitcoin is?
Not money.
Yeah, it's not money.
What did
either.
Voltage do to you? How bad? Did you get your money
No,
back?
you remember. No, I didn't. That's my point.
They're like,
No, they said, yeah, there's nothing we can do.
this is the greatest support ever.
It's like 2 months in support. They wouldn't credit me even a month's worth of service.
Wow.
And in the end, after like 2 months of trying to figure out why it stole my money, they just said, yeah, we've tried everything we could on our end. So guess it didn't work. So I am at the point of closing the account finally, after paying them over $1,000 for their great service. And there is about, I think, $650, $700 sitting in their account, depending on what day you check and where crypto's trading. And that's all going to disappear.
But where is it? Where are they saying that is?
What do you mean?
Where is that money when you say you can see it? Is that still like in channels that are trying to open? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And channels that it just does not close channels that failed to open. So what? Wait, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Your problem, like a month and a half ago, was there was one channel that refused to close.
Yes, one channel that sat there for like 3 months.
And they fixed this.
I opened up the support ticket. They said, oh, well, the fix is you need to upgrade your account to a higher level account because the account you currently have, we no longer support, even though we've been billing you for months that we don't support. Okay, so I upgraded my account and the problem was indeed fixed. It closed that channel. Money went into my account and immediately disappeared out of my account by opening new channels. Remember, I even called you and I was like, hey, are you doing anything with this? What the hell's going on? And then I asked the support guys. They're like, oh, yeah, it looks like you set up a thing to auto. I'm like, I didn't set up jack shit, dude. I haven't logged into this account in years. You set it up. I didn't set it up that it's out. And they're like, oh, well, we'll turn it off. Well, I don't know whether they turned it off or not. I assume they did. But either way, it sucked literally all the money out of my account and opened like 8 channels.
What happens if you open up?
None of which were actually opened.
What if you go to a local small claims court against Voltage? They probably will just pay you. Because otherwise, I think they have to show up. I don't think they can just be like, nope, not going to deal with it. You open up something in a small claims court and be like, they took my money, bitches.
Well, they would argue that they didn't take anything, that it's just I'm using their service, and their service involves risk.
Well, once they admitted it was their service that automatically sent this.
But they're saying it was my actions that caused it to do that.
But I think you can prove that wasn't true.
Well, not really. I mean, they're like, I can prove that I haven't logged in, but if I mean, look, it's their fault. The bottom line is it's absolutely their fault. Nobody should ever use Voltage. The little blurb that's attached to Satoshis, that if you look at any of the software is in there, it says this is a beta network. It is not intended for real transactions.
For a bunch of betas.
Is absolutely true. If you want to use something that actually works, use Bitcoin and the chain. If you want to use something that is a bunch of developers playing around with stuff, some which works, some which doesn't work, sure, use this, but don't expect it to have any recourse if you lose money. That's the bottom line, is that the fine print always says that for all software, including all the podcasting apps that use Satoshis, that this is a test service, not a live, fully reliable network, because it's not.
But you can buy gift cards with it.
You could do a whole bunch of stuff with it until you can't.
Until you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. But guess what does work? Credit card billing from companies that have services that utilize this phony baloney network.
Sad but true.
That works. See, they don't, I mean, I guess some of them do charge you in Bitcoin and stuff, but the bottom line is, I'm just sick and tired of paying monthly fees for something that's not getting resolved.
Yeah, no,
I would have literally, I would have been, if not ahead, I would have certainly been on par had I just stopped paying for this a year ago.
Right.
Because in a year, I paid $300. Right. So I wouldn't have been on par. I would have been at a loss, but at a smaller loss than having paid for a year. And now I'm going to close it with somewhere between $500 and $600 in there. So that's $300. So again, I'm losing really $300 more than I would have a year ago.
You've told it to close the channels and it's ignoring it again. What's the?
Yeah, you can't close channels until they're opened.
Oh, right, because
that's always been the problem, is that it doesn't seem to have a timeout, or at least not a reliable one.
Oh, wait, but you do have. I know you. You go into the terminal because you can make that command.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, you're right. You can go into the terminal. Yeah. And make amend, yes, if you have a terminal.
But you said the upgrade gave you the terminal.
It didn't give me the terminal. When I did the upgrade, it did something that basically resynchronized the chain.
Oh, but I thought you said with the upgrade part of it was terminal access. We got to look at that because I can get you from getting the terminal, man. We'll get that Satoshis. We'll get it right
I'm
back.
Fucking done, dude. I don't need this on my plate.
On my plate.
I don't need to have this sitting on my plate. So I'm just going to call it a $500 loss. Or, well, it's more than that, but somewhere between $500 and $700 loss.
You are a Satoshi evangelist.
It's a all the money that came in for Surging Speaks and a good chunk of Just Two Good Old Boys in the form of Satoshis was in that account.
You hear that, CSB? All of your Satoshis went into the ether.
Not all of them, because remember when you set me up with
Albie? Yeah.
Albie, how long ago was that? Like 9 months ago?
Yeah, they're legit. And they don't lose all your sats.
For now. I mean, I don't know. I've never taken anything out of there. At some point, Albie may go down and I will be bitching equally as badly. Well, I've got like $700 sitting in Albie that I can't get out because they're going down.
They're open sourcing their software and it'll be available for the Umbrel soon. Which is, well, they're also doing the voltage thing. And that's rude to compare them in that way because that maybe they're a much better service. But they're also allowing you now, if you want to do what we have, what you and I both have, if you want that now, you can't get it. You have to pay. If you want them to host your thing for you. And now they're charging like 15, I think it was 15,000 Satoshis a month, which isn't bad, but it's something. And I've been once I got it to work, which it wasn't that hard. It was mainly something weird in the network, but the little Raspberry Pi, I have not really thought about it except to look and go, wow, I'm down to only 500,000 Satoshis as far as incoming, which means I need to move some outgoing to get some of that back, or I need some people to open channels. And we know how that all goes. But otherwise, it has been working.
Yeah, we do.
It's been working okay.
And to be fair, the shit seemed like it was working. I was opening channels and closing channels on Lightning for the first couple of years just fine. It's just when I basically stopped, when I switched to Albie, and there was nothing incoming anymore. The one channel that I tried to open was stuck in an open but never completed mode for months. But, according to them, that was because they had changed their software. They weren't supporting my account anymore. And as soon as I upgraded, then it magically worked. But the problem is then it literally, the aftermath of it working recreated the problem that I had, but made it more difficult because now there were multiple channels.
Right.
Yeah. It went from one stuck channel to like 7 or 8 stuck channels. And these are not small channels, like channels to Deutsche Bank, channels to, what would seem like legitimate organizations.
Right.
That just never finished the confirmation process. And so they had taken the money out of my account in order to secure that channel, but they're unable to release it because they're still waiting on the other side to confirm the receipt, which the other side's not confirming because obviously nothing ever went out.
This voltage is just taking your sats.
But I don't even think they're taking my sats. It's not like when I close my account, they're going to be able to pull anything out of there. It's
No,
I think that's just going to be gone. It's just going to be adding to the amount of Bitcoin because ultimately it's all Bitcoin. That's how it starts off life.
right.
It's not sats. You convert Bitcoin to sats, but when the sats disappear, Bitcoin is what's left. So,
it's backed by the Bitcoin, right? That's kind of the idea.
Well, you put Bitcoin in the account, and then it takes the amount of Bitcoin that you have in there, and to then create this channel by it's essentially putting into a
which is how everything happens so quickly. Rather, right.
Because Bitcoin transactions typically take at least an hour, and usually more like 4 hours.
Yeah, that's not cool when you're trying to make it go pew pew during a live show and people want to get their fund to you immediately.
You'd have to do the donation 4 hours beforehand.
Right. But the opening channels thing, right now, most of these entities that you can connect to are setting minimums of 500,000 or 1 million Satoshis.
Yeah.
Which in real money is $300 and $600. Most people that are like, I'm just trying to play around with this don't want to go, wait, I need to put, like $1,000 into this so I can open up 3 channels.
But it's worse than that because you opening up that channel only lets money flow one direction. So you need somebody to open the channel back to you, which means you need to really pay for 2 channels, one incoming, one outgoing.
Or you go in and you put in $300 and then you pay for that something with that $300 and then you have that as incoming, which you can also do. So you can, technically you could load up your wallet and then buy an Amazon gift card for yourself. And then boom, you got a lot of incoming liquidity. But most people don't understand that.
Yeah.
It's kind of confusing. You're like, well, you have to spend the money to get the money.
Right. Yeah. It is not an easy concept to understand because it's not meant to be easy to understand. It's again, this is like in development. There's a reason this isn't adopted mass market. Because it hasn't achieved that level of development yet.
Did you see the new Ledger wallets yet? They're like full on LED screens, touch screens, and all that. I'm like, oh, I need one of those.
My wallet has a touch screen.
Ooh, what do you got?
I have a
into the microphone, Gene.
It says resilience by design. It's a Ledger.
Yeah, that's what I got. A Ledger.
It's a Ledger. Well,
it's a very little. Mine looks like a USB stick. The new ones,
exactly. It looks just like a USB.
The new ones look like an iPod. They're like that size with the full.
Yeah, too big.
It was true. I mean, it's not as convenient.
Smaller form factor.
Not as convenient.
It's although probably more convenient in some ways, less convenient in others, but.
It depends if you're how many times you need
Bitcoin,
to log in.
I'd rather just have it be on the Ledger wallet and be done with it. But it doesn't do sats, just does Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah, so. It's cool. I mean, you can do with some of these. They have the debit card, credit card that ties right into it, which is nice as well. It's where
but again, my goal with the sats is just to hold for however long, but
mine is keep turning them into Amazon gift card, buy an Apple gift card, buy me a new
that's because you get free sats or Bitcoin ultimately, and I'm paying for it. So
that's the problem.
Yeah. If I buy it and then turn it into Amazon gift card, kind of defeats the purpose.
You want people to enjoy your show enough to where they will actually send in some thanks, some value.
I mean, honestly, I'm happy the way that we're doing it in Just Two Good Old Boys, where people are paying for the infrastructure.
That is a big part of it. So at least you're not losing money. Like the voltage thing.
We're not getting any money to go spend and buy things, but Buzzsprout, which is the hosting company and now the production company, they're getting the money. They're taking care of all the fees. They're doing everything. And it's just like, shows us how much is sitting in our account, basically, of money that came in.
It's always 38 cents.
Yeah, and so far, no, it's more than that. And so far, the number of monthly supporters is just going up. So
you're up to 3 now? 4?
9, I think.
9. Whoa!
9 recurring monthlies.
I did notice that dude named Ben, he was on our top 10 list, but he stopped. He stopped at $78.24. I mean, what kind of a cheap son of a bitch?
He got his own show. That's why he stopped.
Yeah, dude, Ben, come on. Promote that show. You think Gene promotes that enough? No, you come in with like $25, be like, come over to Just the Good Old Boys. We'll even sing Waylon.
And I'll tell you, the best promotion for that show is actually CSB, who donates to other shows and does ads for Just the Good Old Boys.
Darren, you should listen to dude named Ben guy with Gene. He's the Texan, but I don't know what he's doing.
He has a real job.
Yeah, unlike you, his wife does not support him. Like, asshole. See,
he does say that, yeah.
You always get the straight dope from CSB. He does not hold back.
Oh, he doesn't mince words.
No, never, which we appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll tell you why crypto is great.
Still hasn't hooked me up with any of the Miss Poland contestants for some reason, though.
Polish chicks are hot. And
yeah.
Norway, my God, you see the track and field girl from Norway that has gone viral.
No, I need to watch that.
It's
I've really been not watching the Olympics because of all the French crap.
Well, yeah, I have not watched it at all. I just saw this because it went viral.
And honestly, I'm more a fan of Winter Olympics. I like those sports a lot more.
Agree. Like hockey.
Hockey's good, but all the exotic ones that you just can't do in the summer, like luge and skeleton and biathlon, sports that are interesting and things that I didn't really do any of them, so I can't say I grew up with them, but I certainly grew up watching them a lot more than Summer Olympic. Because running, okay, whoop-de-doo, you can run fast. What does that get you? Nothing. But when you can ice skate and then grab a gun and shoot accurately, like, that's cool.
You're like, that's awesome. I mean, you were big into luge, though, weren't you? A professional? Sorry, that's not. No, the luge you'd be dead by now. The curling, you're the curling guy. That's
I love curling. Yeah, curling is a great sport. I think, curling is like combining elements of a bunch of other sports, like bowling. With hockey and sweeping. It's actually it's a sport. It's
like going out on the porch with a broom.
Puck,
yeah,
and bocce. I mean, like all these sports, there's similarities there. But curling is interesting because it is a sport that fat dudes can do, and
not die.
And well, yeah, hopefully, although you can slip and fall on ice.
True, dangerous.
But it's fun to watch because the most subtle of movements can really affect the score tremendously. It is on the some hand, in some way, it is absolutely a team sport because without the sweepers, you're not going to get that shot to land perfectly.
And you're like, what are they really doing? That's the oddity where most people watch that are like, is this doing
they're melting the ice. They're putting a layer of water on top of the ice.
Is that what the sweeping does? Is it changes it a little bit into...
Well, you're melting the ice through friction.
There's not
so
that
you're
much
creating
friction,
a more... What?
It's not that much friction. I mean, isn't it just like cleaning it to make it easier for it to go over? I mean, it's very weird.
It's not cleaning it. No. It's literally building up a very thin layer of super slick water on top of ice. Ice by itself, it's fairly slippery, but wet ice is insane slippery. And so that's what you want, is you want to have that path. Imagine if you could do this with bowling.
To have somebody out on the lanes helping you out?
Yeah. Like you would have a strike every time. Because it's allowing you to change the trajectory of the stone or bowling ball in bowling after you've let it go.
Well, you know what? ChatGPT agrees. Sweeping heats up the ice, slightly reducing friction and helping the stone travel.
Oh my
further.
God! What do you need ChatGPT for? You got me right here. Gene GPT.
I would totally subscribe to Gene GPT. I'll only pay you though in crypto to your voltage account, so everything works out.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. Yes.
Dreb Scott came in with another 777. Thank you. And he says, what are you using to turn your sats into gift cards? I've been stacking the sats on my node and leaving them alone. Some gift cards might be nice to pick up. You must have a shit ton. That's a really clinical
He does have
term.
a shit ton. That's actually publicly visible
Of Satoshi.
from looking at the money coming into No Agenda through sats. So we can actually tell how much money he's got. And, you know, he does great work, obviously, for the money that he's making, but he has a shit ton of sats.
Now, what I would recommend, my favorite right now is BitRefill, bitrefill.com. The nice thing about BitRefill is that they'll ask you for a email address, but you don't really need one because it processes in the same browser window. So if you go buy a $500 Amazon gift card, you don't even have to give it a legit email
This
address.
show does not offer money laundering advice.
No, not
at all.
No, just saying what works and what doesn't. And coin cards, coincards.com. Both of those you want to check out. But lately I've been using BitRefill because it's nice and easy. They have things like Amazon and Apple, which both of the, Amazon will let you buy up to a $2,000 gift card. $2,000. Apple up to $500. Of course, you could stack those.
Really? Apple's just $500? That's it? Because
Yeah.
you can't buy a single Apple product
I know.
for $500.
So you'd have to get like 5 of them.
Multiple gift cards just to buy one. And
One
like even the
stupid
phone's
computer.
over $1,000.
Uh-huh. You can get DoorDash.
That's ridiculous, man.
You can get a DoorDash gift card.
I got the cheapest iPad I have ever gotten.
Instacart, so this could help Gene buy his food. Best Buy. Hotels.com, prepaid MasterCard, prepaid Visa, all of these things, although those usually only work on things within your country and not anything with a subscription. And but otherwise, they got Kroger and Safeway and Walmart and Sam's Club. So if you need to turn them into gift cards, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just leave them in there and wait till the company that's handling them crashes and burns.
Yeah, you don't want. Well, I bet you Dreb Scott's got his own node, he said. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, so did I, man. That's what I was paying for, is my own node.
Allegedly. Well, yours was in the cloud. Mine's in my basement.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. Mine was originally right here next to me until the device crashed. And then I thought, yeah, screw this running your own bullshit. I'm gonna outsource it to professionals.
Right.
The professionals make sure that it's working perfectly. They'll upgrade, they'll take care of the maintenance, they'll do all that stuff that I'm gonna pay $25 a month for the rest of my life. And then I don't have to worry about anything happening to that money. Because imagine if my node that crashed would have actually had any money. Luckily, it crashed before it had any money in it.
See, it was much easier. Although none of this shit were. I mean, my dryer, clothes dryer, wasn't drying. So I'm like, what the hell? And at first I'm like, it's always like, well, check your lint trap, make sure that's not crashing or, all hooked up when there's stuff in there. And Dreb Scott says, thanks for the tip with another 777. Yeah, he's got his own note. Thank you, Dreb. Yeah. So I took one of the, because I got tired of paying for canned air, which most people who ever buy canned air, you get tired. So I finally bought like one of the little $20, $30 cheap Chinese compressors that just blows air. So I put that and shot it down into where the filter goes in the dryer. You blew
the filter, didn't you?
A lot of shit came out. I'll tell you that much.
I bet.
And then the dryer still wasn't working. And I looked it up and it's like there is a sensor right by where the filter goes in, right in the front of that on the grate that keeps the big stuff from getting in there. There's 2 little metallic things that are the sensor for moisture. And I took a little microfiber cloth along with some isopropyl alcohol, rubbed that for about 20 seconds. Now it's fine.
Okay.
And now it works.
Good.
Which it is, but I'm thinking, how many people, like my parents, how many people would just call somebody, have to get a service because, like, what the fuck is going on with this? We don't use any of the crazy shit in the dryer, so we're not using, the Snuggle fabric softener that might coat it with a bunch of garbage. to where the sensors can't work. I mean, I guess eventually it could just get dirty, but the dryer is only a couple of years old, I think. And it already needed to have that little thing cleaned off. I'm glad it works.
Interesting. I've been using my dryer. Man, I shouldn't even talk about it. Knock on wood.
Right. It's going to start going.
I've been using my dryer I bought it new in probably 14 years ago.
And still
maybe
fine.
13 years ago. I've literally never done anything to it.
Just keeps working.
Yeah.
So this is the problem with these newer systems. We got the front load washer, which I didn't really care about, but that's what everybody was selling.
Mm-hmm.
And the matching dryer, LG, and of course their Wi-Fi. So you could put whatever you want in. It'll tell you that how much electricity you're using and all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you hook it up to the Wi-Fi, I mean, you can also just disconnect it from the Wi-Fi as well. But this adding all this crap, and it never worked, which is one of the first things I wanted to complain about, because there's nothing more infuriating, although I guess, you just wait till it's done. But I'd go down and be like, well, how much time's left on the dryer? I want to know. I'm trying to figure out, when do I need to go fold the clothes, right? And it would say like, okay, 12 minutes. So I'd go back down in 12 minutes, and now the little reading says 24 minutes. And I'm like, wait, fuck you. It should never do that. It should never do that. That It's like it's guessing. It's like it should never go down and then go back up. I'd rather have it take longer for it to move down.
Yeah.
But it tries to guess, and then it's wrong. And it's like, well, that's infuriating. But this was even worse because I had to keep doing it. And for some reason, I guess, you know what? I could have programmed it. I think I could have downloaded my own program, but their manual.
What brand is this thing?
LG.
Okay, same as mine.
The manual dry is only a 25-minute setting. So if you had enough clothes in there where 25 minutes wasn't enough, it's just going to go 25, and then you had to start it again.
See, mine has a sensor where it automatically figures all that stuff out.
I know, and that's what got dirty. It's right in front of the little lint trap. And that's what I rubbed with the isopropyl alcohol and microfiber cloth, and magically made it start working again.
Okay.
Now, I wonder, the only thing that we have in the dryer is I bought a set of those 6 wool dryer balls that look like tennis balls. Now, I don't know if that would leave any kind of residue. I don't think it should.
Yeah.
Because it's just a wool ball. It's not like it's coated with fabric softener or anything. And you notice if you use fabric softener, which I made the mistake of doing for years before I knew, using fabric softener on towels, it's great because then you like get out after a shower and you like rub yourself, and it's like, why isn't the towel wet at all? Because it doesn't absorb anymore. That's why it's magic. You don't want to use the fabric softener on things that you want to be absorbent. They do bad things. But it was just pissing me off. Like, well, I can tell it's heating up, so I knew it wasn't the heating element, which DigiGuru had to replace his igniter element in the gas dryer. Well, see?
Oh, yeah, mine's electric.
He did that himself because he's brave and he didn't care if he blew up his house. I would not want to work with anything gas. So that's, yeah, mine's electric as well.
Yeah.
You want to blow up your house?
Electric's got other issues. Well, there's nothing wrong with gas, dude. It's just, I wouldn't use it for a dryer. I would be afraid that the lint catches on fire. Electric feels like it's a little more isolated, a little more theoretically safer, although practically speaking, maybe it's not.
It all depends. You just want to make sure you're not loading up the lint somewhere that's going to ignite in the line. Burning your whole house down. I'm like, but it's not getting that hot. People say that, and it's like, well, how would that lint get that hot? It doesn't make sense. You're just blowing air out of the machine. You're not blowing a butane. You're not blowing a big flamethrower out.
Yeah.
Tom says use vinegar as a softener. Yes, that does work.
As a fabric softener?
Yeah.
Why do you... Okay, so now that we're on this topic, we don't provide any advice on doing clothes here, apparently. But what's the deal with fabric softener? Like, why do people use it at all? What's
they like soft?
Is cotton too harsh for you?
Yes.
Is that the problem?
I think so.
How many people actually use linen? Because that is a harsher sort of a fabric. Like it's not as naturally as soft as cotton, but is cotton too goddamn not soft enough for people?
I am replaying the whole Seinfeld New York Yankees using polyester uniforms to cotton in my mind now.
It's a legitimate question. I don't understand this. I've never used fabric softener. I don't certainly use it on anything. I don't think my bed sheets are like hard or, they're not soft enough. They're plenty soft. And I don't know that I could even tell if they weren't.
Did you ever toss a broad wearing a silk negligee onto silk sheets and watch her fly right into the headboard?
Yes, that is hilarious. Did that with my ex-wife. That was actually funny, man.
This is where you learn physics and friction and all sorts of fun things. It's like a slip and slide.
That was a good lesson to learn in thinking that, like, silk sheets, she'll love that. Then you realize she does like silk and she's wearing it at the same time. And then the silk on silk action, it just like goes zoop.
Yep. There is nothing going to stop you from flying.
Now, luckily the bed wasn't very high up, but I had a great laugh as a result of it. And I got no sex.
Ever again. That was
what? No, not ever, but certainly that night I have a laugh instead of sex. Yeah.
It's like the Sam Kinison thing. You hear that wife voice like, oh, so you think that's funny, huh? Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, I thought that was funny.
That was hilarious, but that was in like the first year of marriage. So,
Oh, we're still the honeymoon period.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
But yeah, I think most people use the fabric softener because back in the day, the commercials were nonstop. That goddamn Snuggle Bear was everywhere. And I think people just thought, well, you're supposed to, just like when
you're not.
You use detergent when you wash, or you're supposed to have fabric softener. You're supposed to put a dryer sheet in because, it'll control static cling. Yeah, bullshit.
No, you'd never do that either. You don't need any of that crap. And you don't need the fake smells on anything. Like clean clothes don't require an artificial smell. Like the clean smell is just there from them being clean.
It's the clean. And that
you don't need to artificially make it smell. It's like new car smell in a bottle.
And DigiGuru says
what the hell?
We've created a new sport in bedroom curling.
Bedroom curling, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now that I would watch.
Boy, was she surprised when she saw the guys with the brooms.
This is absolutely a sport that I would watch.
Is wife curling. Wife curling sounds like a sport out of Kazakhstan.
So I don't know why people use fabric softener. I don't.
They're idiots. I do.
It's if you're, you would have to have a very particular reason. Now I understand like some towels and that little vinegar can help, but it depends what you're trying to do. You're relaxing the fibers, right?
You're not. That's the thing is the fibers don't need any relaxing. Here's what I think.
They're very tense fibers, Gene.
I think fabric softener originated, and I don't know this, but you can probably Google it, probably originated to help fight hard water.
That would make sense.
Not hard clothes, but if you know this from like taking a shower if you're traveling in a hotel that has really hard water or something, it leaves your hair feeling less soft than normal soft water. Like soft water doesn't have any minerals in it. Hard water has a shit ton of minerals in it. Those minerals stay on your hair when your hair dries. They stay on your skin. They stay everywhere, but you just don't notice it because you got, oils on your skin and stuff that make it irrelevant if you have any minerals on you. But I suspect that those same minerals would probably stay on whatever you're washing, on the clothes or sheets or whatever. And then if that's the case, your sheets may feel like they're not as soft as they were when they were new or before you washed them in hard water. So the issue here, I think, is the water hardness, not the clothing hardness. However, the marketing folks that had the magic bear that you booped in its stomach, was it Bounty that did that?
Snuggle.
Was Snuggle the Bounty one? Or Snuggle is the company itself?
Yeah,
well,
Snuggle,
whatever.
Yeah, the fabric softener with the bear. which is also named Snuggle.
Realized that a lot fewer people have hard water than wash their clothes. And so what if you could sell this crap to everybody and make them think that their clothes are not going to be soft without it, and not just the people that have hard water?
According to
you'd make way more money.
GPT, the early washing machines and detergents combined with the high heat of drying often left clothes feeling harsh and uncomfortable to wear. In the mid-20th century, as synthetic fibers like nylon and polyester became common, it became evident that these materials often felt rougher after washing. So these fabric softeners were designed to coat the fiber with a thin layer of chemicals, making them feel softer to the touch.
Well, vinegar isn't going to do that.
It reduces static cling. It enhances the fragrance.
Yeah, two things that have nothing to do with softness.
And reducing the wear and tear by lubricating the fibers. Fabric softener can reduce friction during the wash cycle, potentially prolonging the life of the garment.
So it's actually oil then. You're putting oil in there.
Yeah, it's adding something onto the...
Because if it's... I mean, this is just stupid. This makes zero sense whatsoever. I think in this case, ChatGPT just picked up shit from Wikipedia, which is written by morons. I think that's all it is.
Vinegar can make clothes softer. It's a natural alternative because it breaks down residue, it neutralizes alkalinity, and softens hard water. See, now that maybe is where you're onto something with the hard water.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that it does.
You add it during the rinse cycle. Pour about a half to a cup of white vinegar into the fabric softener compartment of your washing machine. If it doesn't have a dispenser, you cheap son of a bitch, you can add it directly to the drum during the rinse cycle. You don't want to use too much or your clothes will smell like vinegar.
It's not a bad smell, honestly. I was just using vinegar just recently to clean my knives.
It's one will do.
Yeah, it takes the rust off.
When my air conditioning unit decided to start spewing water all over the place.
You said unit.
Yeah. I went and wanted to make sure that the drain was clear there. So I poured a container of vinegar right down into the sewer, and that all went down fine. But it turned out, I don't know what exactly happened, but something happened in the PVC pipe that the unit uses to discharge that was not letting the water drain out. So it was coming out at the top of the furnace where the coil is and getting all over the place. And
the furnace?
The air conditioner, because the air conditioner is connected to the furnace blower, you know what I'm saying? And
the pipe was stuck with some chemicals?
I don't know what was in the pipe or why. I think this all began because I had a real cheap ass furnace filter that got sucked into the furnace. That hasn't happened in a long time.
Oh, wow.
So I think the whole thing got froze. Now, I don't know if that got something stuck in the lines. I let it sit overnight, let it defrost. Everything was good. And then the next morning it started happening again. The only reason I noticed this is when I went to make sure that drain was clear. Because I'm like, well, if the floor drain is starting to back up, well, then no more water can come out. So let me see if that's where the problem is. I moved the PVC pipe, of course, out of the little drain hole in the floor. And it jostled around enough when I put it back in that all of a sudden I'm hearing like glug, glug, glug and shit start coming out. I'm like, so what was blocking it up? I don't know. There was like an airlock or something in the pipe itself that wasn't letting the stuff drain out. But now it's working, which is good because I didn't really want to have to worry about working on the air conditioner that was only put in a year ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, these things happen. You don't know why.
Shit seems to break for you very quickly. Your air conditioning shouldn't really need anything for that whole HVAC system for a decade.
I know. So this, I think, was just because I put a cheap filter in. And when I had to like pull it out, it was like going in, sucking it into the furnace. So I'm guessing the airflow was horrible. Although I didn't really feel like the airflow in the house was all that bad. But I am pretty much certain that it did freeze up the coil. Where once the coils freeze, you got to let them totally thaw out, or or it's never going to work right again. And whatever happened at that point.
But a new air conditioner like that or a new furnace should have sensors that automatically turn it off if it starts actually freezing.
You would think. The furnace itself, the blower is not new. We didn't replace that. I just replaced the outdoor. Because
you just did.
They were on different cycles, which is a little bizarre. But the thing was, right when we got into this house, well, not right as, but a few years after we were in this house.
I seem to remember right. You had some back of the car brother-in-law kind of deal with your air conditioner.
Yeah, with this guy, who's a professional. He's a retired.
That's what they all say.
No,
all the back of the car guys say, I'm a professional. I just happen to have this unit for 80% off.
No, it wasn't that. We paid 100%, let me tell you. And
I know you didn't, because I know how much these things cost.
I got for what yours, I got a decent deal. And it's all warranted through a company.
80% off. That's a great deal.
Beautiful. Just fell right off the truck. Didn't even have to get a permit. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, it's a friend of a cousin of a neighbor of mine. Yeah.
But he didn't redo the
friends and family discount.
The drain was already in there. That drain pipe was already existing, which I think that I do want to redo that, because this is kind of an annoyance that I don't want to have to deal with again.
No, all you got to do is just get a long drill and just drill straight through your foundation, and you're good to go.
Go right down in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the
right
funny thing is,
and it works perfect.
I think this was all because they wanted to drain the whole house humidifier, which anybody out there, do you know anything about these? Because I don't think they do dick all. Especially,
they do. They totally do.
They use water and do nothing.
A humidifier or dehumidifier? Depends where you live, my friend.
Right. This is the whole house humidifier, but here is the problem. You use it in the winter. I run the dehumidifier too. Not at the same time. Yeah. That's a Stephen Wright bit. Where it is placed, and I've read the instructions on these, they say you can do either. Where the whole house humidifier is installed is in the return duct. So that moisture is being thrown into the system right before it goes into the fire of the furnace.
Right.
Now, wouldn't that immediately dry all that up?
No.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Wouldn't it, on the other end, actually provide more humidity?
No.
I don't believe that. It's physics would seem to think.
No, physics is exactly right. Because cold air will hold less humidity than hot air.
But it is like fire.
Yeah. Yeah. When you say, isn't it going to dry it up? What do you think happens to the liquid? When something dries, what do you think happens to that liquid?
It goes into zeroness. It goes into
the air.
Null. It goes into /dev and /null.
No, it does not. Your house does not have a dev/null. Okay. That's not a feature of your house. I know that.
It might be. It should be.
That's like saying when you boil water, the water disappears. Well, no, it doesn't disappear. It humidifies your damn air.
It humidifies the air.
It's the cheapest form of a humidifier you can have in the winter is just boiling water in your stove.
I suppose. It just seems like it would do less.
No, because again, what you're thinking of is like, well, when it's cooler air, it feels more clammy when it's humid.
Right. This is true.
Right. But why does it feel clammy? Because the colder the air, the less moisture it can hold, and more of that moisture ends up actually, being what's the word? Not perspirated, but it's coming out of the air and onto your skin. It's like condensing is the word. It's like that morning dew, right? What is morning dew?
Not as good as Tullamore
It's
Dew.
when not as good as Mountain Dew.
No, Tullamore Dew is even better.
Yeah. It's
Irish.
when the air cools off at night and you get condensation on all the windows, like your car window and stuff that's sitting outside. And really on any kind of surface, you get condensation that doesn't absorb it. because as the air cools,
it'll reemerge.
It can't hold as much moisture in it. So
Okay,
it has
that
to
makes
dump
sense.
some of that moisture.
It's
literally the same reason we have rain. Rain is simply air that is humid and hot getting cooled off. And when it gets cooled off, you have rain.
That I really have never noticed any different. If you go from in the winter without having this thing on, and then turn it on and let it run for hours, don't really see a difference. Unlike if you put
you put a humidistat on and seen if there's a difference?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh,
now, the only way I see that, now, if you put a little cheap Chinese 2-gallon humidifier in the same room and turn that on for an hour, well, then it goes up like 5%, and it's there. This may just be so little of what it's actually doing. And this is the reason they wanted this to drain. This is why the air conditioning comes out of the air conditioner coil, makes a right angle, and goes past the front of the furnace, makes another right angle going towards the drain, makes another right angle going straight down, and then makes another right angle going towards the drain, because this is where the humidifier is, where it would have been way easier because there's a sink right behind the furnace. They should have just you didn't have to.
They should have just dumped it in there.
Yeah, you didn't have to drain both of these things together.
So the air conditioning is interesting too, because they've had coolers, chillers, whatever you want to call them, in the past, before there was air conditioning,
like the swamp coolers and those things.
I guess, yeah. But the interesting thing about the air conditioner was the guy that is credited with inventing it. I'm sure there's more than one person, but is that the discovery that what makes people feel cooler is not just cooling off the air, because as we just discussed,
right,
what happens when the air cools?
Humidity.
It gets more humid because it can't hold as much humidity, as much liquid in it at lower temperatures. And so you go from hot air to cold, clammy air, and that's not pleasant either. But if you combine that chiller with an dehumidifier, something that actually takes the moisture out of the air, and you can do that, with having a combination of basically metal coils that are so cold that you've got beads of water running down them, and then which is why it needs a drain in the first place.
Right, it's basically an air conditioner in reverse,
like an actual air conditioner. Yeah, then it feels great because it feels more like dry cool air rather than cold, clammy cool air.
Oh yeah, we have the old-fashioned dehumidifier, and that thing still pulls out probably a gallon plus in the basement every day.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah,
I had one that just drained.
Do you have a carpet down there, don't you?
Yeah, well, half of it's carpet, half of it's tile. Which I'm glad, because the half that's tile, which was what was underwater when the air conditioner spewed out the water. Yep.
It's I remember those days living in Minnesota where you had dehumidifiers. The basements were notorious for always having a lot of moisture.
Yeah, which is why the dehumidifier in the summer, you kind of need to run them down there. And we had one that just drained right into the same, drain with the air conditioner. But it was recalled after like 2 or 3 years because of a fire concern. So I'm like, well, that's always good to know too.
Was it also made by Kasori?
It might have been. It should have been. Maybe Kasori would have been better.
That's an inside joke there, folks.
Yeah, it's the old air fryer people, but they know what they're doing. And I need to get another one that
I don't understand why they stopped making my model. I think it was the best one of the bunch.
Yeah. Well, yours got hotter. It did more things. You had more room.
Yeah. All of those, and the top opened up, which is the best part. So you didn't need to slide something out of it.
It was like magic. You didn't need anything else ever to cook.
Yeah, my dad was asking me about it. I was like, here, I'll show you the model I have, and I'm like, discontinued.
And yours didn't even light up on fire. That was just the other units.
No, No, that was the other unit.
They want to. Obviously, this company is trying to burn down America one air fryer at a time. But they work really well. The air fryers.
Air fryers really are the bomb.
They do what you need them to do.
In a good sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Not in the bad sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not cooking with an air fryer, you're not cooking at all. And you can boost the show even during the week when we're not live.
Oh, really?
Just saying, you can do that. You can boost us. And if you boost enough, we might even come back next week to do the show again.
And if you really boost a lot, we won't. We are such professionals that timing was perfect.